Good morning and welcome to Legally Speaking with Attorney Antoinette Osbourne. This program is for information purposes only. If you need legal advice, you can contact me, Antoinette Osbourne, at 718-502-9137. That's 718-502-9137. The office focuses on divorce, immigration, bankruptcy, real estate, and estate matters. We also do eviction proceedings. There is a second office in Jamaica, West Indies, that focuses on legal representation if you are looking to buy or sell property, or if you are looking to wrap up an estate. If you have a question this morning, you can call in at 718-502-9137. You can also post your question in the live, or if you're unable to do so, you can also text your question to 718-502-9137. So this morning, I wanted to discuss the affidavit of support along with the ramifications of signing it. In addition, I wanted to focus on how long are you liable for when you are filing this affidavit and who can be sued. So the affidavit of support, and I'll say this from the jump. I would not recommend signing this document for anyone who is a deadbeat. Like, they're looking to go on the system. They are, the person you can really sign this document for is someone who, quote unquote, is a hustler. It's someone they are not looking to go on the government system. They are really self-supporting. They are going to be looking to get a job. They are going to look to be contributing members of society. If it is that someone comes to you, and this is where we want to help people, but at the same time, in helping someone, you do not want to put yourself in jeopardy. And I would not recommend signing this document for anyone who deep down they are not going to look to come to America and hustle legally, because you're at risk. And during the show today, you are going to see how you are at risk. Now, who is it that can sign this affidavit of support? You're looking at the person has to be either a US citizen, they have to be a green card holder, or if it is that they have 40, I would call it, I think it's 40 credits, they can also sign. Now, you may have a spouse who is even working more than the person who is legally authorized to work. The fact that they are not legal in the country, they are not able to sign the affidavit of support. So if you're looking to become a joint sponsor for someone and you know that this person is working, they've always worked, then this is someone I would not hesitate to recommend that you sign an affidavit of support for, because you know that once they get status, they have a job, they're still going to work, or at least that is what we hope, yeah? Because you never know with people. I find one of the hardest thing is where someone has extended an act of kindness, yeah, and then of course people are abusive. Good morning, Amarillo. All right, morning sunshine, morning June. The volume is low. All right, so let me look to adjust that. Give me 1 second. All right. So, all right. So I hope this is better. All right. So this is not a document where this is not a document. Thanks, June. This is not a document where you're just gonna sign this for anybody. Yeah. And I find, and I always say this, I'll never forget when I was on the radio, right? And the lady said her 5 daughters came and immediately they went on welfare. Now, these are not the people you sign an affidavit of support for because you're putting you at risk. I'm sorry. I don't care if it's your own child. If you know that your child is a deadbeat, right? And I think people are in denial when it comes to their own children. It is I don't know if it's a false hope or a false expectation that that child will eventually do better. And I'll never forget my client. He said, Antoinette, once you came and you started speaking on the radio, I'll tell you, the whole of my brethren, them look on their kids who are in the house do absolutely nothing, not contributing, and they started setting rules for them. Now, if you're raising these children and you are encouraging what I personally believe it's slackness. Yeah. I remember when I finished school, the first thing I did, went to my father and I said, okay, Daddy, this is what I'm gonna contribute to. This is how you have to gear your children. Otherwise, guess what? They're just going to sit down and wait for you to die and to inherit. You have to put some sort of hustling mentality in your kids that they go out and they look it, right? All right. So if you are doing a family-based application or for some employment-based applications, then yes, you need this affidavit of support where you're filing an employment base, but the sponsor has a significant ownership interest in the company, then yes, you have to file that affidavit of support. All right. Now, if you do not have an affidavit of support, so let's say that you filed for someone and then you decided you're not going to proceed. So there's no affidavit of support in this filing. Guess what's going to happen? The case is going to get denied. Why? Because if the immigrant comes here and they go on benefits, then the government entity, whether it be the federal government, whether it be the state, the county, yeah, or probably some hospitals want to come in play and they want to sue. So if there's no affidavit of support, right? Because you have to understand simply this. When you have an affidavit of support, you're signing this. People sign things and they don't read. This is a contract with the government where you have accepted certain obligations, right? And the obligations that you are in fact accepting is you open yourself for liability to get sued just in case that immigrant that you sponsored decides they're going to go and take federal means tested benefits. So you always have to bear in mind that I'm signing this, yet still I'm opening myself for liability. If you don't think like that, then you're not gonna caution yourself that I have to ensure that this person is in fact going to be able to support themselves. Because then guess what? You're up. And this goes for the joint sponsors as well. So when some is asking, do you need do you need your husband past divorce papers to get your citizenship? I have been married for 4 years. We are still together. So wait, 4 years, 9 months. But no, you don't need his divorce papers. That divorce paper would have been required when you actually filed for the green card. Morning, sunshine. All right. So just to let you know. All right. Michelle is telling everyone to have a relaxing Sunday and bless love to all of you. Okay. So if your income, you're the sponsor, your income is not enough, but you have sufficient assets. And guys, please don't forget to like the live. Please don't forget to share the live. Nicola is here this morning, and just in case I miss a question, then she will send it to me and I will respond. All right, so if it is that, and people always say, what happens if they file for bankruptcy? Can they still do the filing for someone? Absolutely. The only thing is your bankruptcy gets taken into account to as a consideration when you file the affidavit of support. But the fact that you have filed bankruptcy does not prevent you from filing for someone. It's your constitutional right anyway to file for bankruptcy, right? Now, when the joint sponsors come in, they also take into play that person's relationship to the immigrant. Because remember, one of the main focus is this. If we can't sue the immigrant and we can't sue the main sponsor, is this person who has signed the document to become a joint sponsor, are they in fact willing to support this person? Because you have to support this person at 125% or more above the federal poverty guidelines. And if they are in the military, and not just military, you have to be active duty, then they reduce that requirement to 100%. Yeah? All right. One of or a few of the applications that the affidavit of support does not, you don't need an affidavit of support. You're looking at things like VAWA, right? So people who are doing those self-petitions, the VAWA, the special immigrant juveniles or the special immigrants, diversity immigrants, asylees, people who are seeking the Cuban adjustment, people who have earned that 40 quarters. I think I had said 40 credits, it's 40 quarters, right? And of course, that child who is an automatic citizen. You don't need an affidavit of support. Now, immigration will look at the tax return, and sometimes what I find that they're now doing is if that tax return is filed jointly, they want the household member to come in. Now, here's the difficulty. That household member may not know you. Sometimes I find spouses are filing these affidavit of support, and this is a joint sponsor spouse, not the main spouse. The joint sponsor spouse, and yeah, sometimes the main spouse, because you're not always filing for your wife, right? You find that they're doing things in secret. And this is where sometimes when you do things in the dark, it eventually comes out, right? And I always say, it may not come out today, but I can guarantee you at some point it comes out. And when it is that your tax return is joint and you're calling for that contract sponsor, right? So here it is, your spouse is signing documents, basically tying themselves to the government that, look, I'm going to participate in this. And some of these spouses do not want to get involved. They don't want to give their W-2s, right? Unless you're going to get the transcript. One of the ways to circumvent getting the W-2s and the 1099s apply for a transcript. So for those of you who are like speaking, it will come out when you need your spouse to sign the form, right? Or it doesn't have to be only be your spouse. It can be a family member, because sometimes your income is not enough, but your mother lives in the household, your dad, brother, sister, they're living in the same house with you. They can also come in as a contract sponsor. And one of the benefits, as opposed to a joint sponsor with a contract sponsor, is because you're adding their income to the main sponsor in order to qualify. Where if you're using a joint sponsor, that person individually by themselves has to qualify. All right, so just tuning in, welcome. You are listening to Legally Speaking with attorney Antoinette Osbourne. If you have a question this morning, you can call in the live at 718-502-9137. You can also put your question in the live, and in the event you do not wish to put your question in the live, you can in fact text your question. So Judith is saying the sound is hollow. Judith, is this better? I hope this is better. All right. Morning, Renee. Renee is telling everyone good morning. All right. So I hope I put the mic a little bit closer to me. So I sincerely hope now that the sound is actually better. It is going through, let's see, the right input. Yes, yes, it is. All right. Now, who can be the joint sponsor? They must. And people sometimes think that they have to live in the same state with you. They don't. They can live in a different state as long as they are domiciled in the United States. And what I find is parents who are U.S. citizens, the parent doesn't want to be here. And you have to understand, and culturally, where your parent is used to, especially if you're from like the village, the rural areas, they're not used to coming here, lock up in a house. People are used to, they're outside, they're out on the land, they're cultivating their land, they can go and talk to the neighbors. It's different here because you can live in this place and do not know your neighbor. And I really wouldn't encourage fraternizing with people who you can tell that they're engaged in certain form of activities. I am not going to encourage you to fraternize with those people. You could be taking a lift from someone in a car, and when the police stops them, guess what? They find a gun. You're just taking a lift. The police don't care. Everybody gets charged. So you have to be careful who you actually mix with in this place. You can't mix with everybody, yeah? And you're not going to discount someone by their appearance. I would not encourage you to do that. I speak to anybody as long as you have a good, clean heart that works. I don't care your religion. I don't care what you look like. I don't care your ethnicity. I don't care where you're from. Your heart just have to be clean, yeah? Because I find people come to this place and they engage in things where they would not even think of doing in their home country. But when they come here, we don't know which maca joke them. It's like people take risks here that if you're in their home country, they would not do. And my heart goes out to these store owners where they're coming in now, and I think because they're not being prosecuted really for these minor theft offenses, they're just stealing and the owner is just watching them. Sometimes the liberalism in this state, it is, I swear, the debauchery that is resultant in as a result of this. When COVID came around, and you have state officials causing people not to pay their rent, and people who could and had the ability to pay their rent decided that they were not going to pay their rent. And this is nonsense. Yeah? All right. So you'd be surprised where people will take protection where it was not even intended for them. And it seems there is a new squatter law. I'll take a look at that and come back one Sunday and advise you on it. But people are just capturing houses, right? Immediately taking out utilities in their names. It's sad. And where it is, for some states, people said they went on vacation and coming back, they have people in their homes, right? So now you are stuck outside and you have to go to court to evict them. It's sad, but this is the reality and this is the nonsense. And I think the governor of Atlanta, this lady was on the TV trying to get back in her own home, and the squatter claimed that someone gave him a lease. So now what? You have to be in court to evict the person. That's not right. Yeah. I've had clients where this has happened too. Yeah. They did not sign a lease with the person. And here comes, they see complete strangers in their homes, and they have to go to court to evict them, serve that 10-day notice, right? And now you're in eviction proceedings. And I'll tell you, anyone evicting anyone in the city, yeah, if that person is not agreeable to leave, you are looking at a year plus. This is insane. All right. But this is where they go ahead and they enjoy the fruits of your labor. You have to be paying water, right? Some people will pay heat in heating season because they don't want the pipes burst. Yeah. The I don't know, the tech advantage that happens here is absolutely amazing to me. How is it that you could look to go ahead and just be so abusive? But this is what occurs, right? Now, some people may not have that income to show. They may, in fact, have the assets, right? So we'll get down later into how is it we do these calculations. So for anyone just joining, welcome. We are on live. Welcome to Legally Speaking. Don't forget to like the live. Don't forget to share the live where the information is going to be beneficial to someone that you may know, right? All right. So to do the affidavit of support, you can't have an immigrant cannot have more than one joint sponsor, right? So that's why you really and keep friends with people, right? And when I say friend, I mean a true friend. A lot of people are just here and they don't understand the concept. You want to know if somebody will be there for you in hard times? Go to them and beg them for money. Seriously. You don't really want it, but we'll test some people now. Go to them, explain to them the charity that you're having, right? The financial hardship you are in. I go beg them for money. I'm talking friends for years. And this is why it irks me, especially if you approach someone and they're kind enough to co-sign on a loan for you, or they go ahead and go on a mortgage and you default. I think that is such a wicked act because everyone knows the importance of credit in this country. So when you go ahead and you default on a loan where someone is in fact kind enough to do this, yeah man, Me personally, no, man. There is no way in life I would be having a conversation with you again. Don't even call me on your dying bed. When people extend kindness to you, do not be wicked. I don't care where you need to go get the money. Someone has extended a level of kindness to you. Don't abuse it. Yeah? All right. Now, when you have your derivative does not have to have the same joint sponsor as you. So, for example, husband is filing for wife, right? And husband being a green card holder because U.S. citizens do not get derivatives when it comes to spouse. So he's filing for his wife, he's a green card holder, and because he's a green card holder, the children don't need separate applications. They are in fact derivative. Now, in such a scenario, he may not make enough to sponsor the kids. So he'll get a joint sponsor. He may get a joint sponsor for one child and another joint sponsor for the second child, right? All right, because you can't have more than two joint sponsors for any family group, and that's his family group right there, wife and children. Now, at any point, you can withdraw this affidavit of support as long as that person did not get the green card or their application at the embassy has not been approved. In that regard, you can in fact withdraw your affidavit of support, right? One of the requirements of this is to be domiciled in the United States. And a lot of people don't understand what is domiciled. An indication of where you're domiciled is where you file your tax return, right? It is really your principal place of abode. Because some people live two places, yeah? So you may have somebody who is working in New York, but they live in Texas, and they file in Texas. Texas is their domicile, right? Now, one of the good things is, and I said to my client, because she's like, Antoinette, I really do not want to stay here. She wants to file for her son, but she does not want to stay here. And she has two options, yeah? And my preferred option is when you are, at the time you're going to be signing your affidavit of support, come back. Come back and start being here, right? Because you don't have to be here throughout. But when it is, you're going to put in this application, come back to the United States, right? One of the things you can also do is if it is that there is the intent to return with the immigrant, and it is clear that your intent is to come back and have the United States as your domicile, then yeah, you don't have to be here. But why am I going to put myself through the drama of proving to an officer my intent? No, I like easy. So at a time when I'm gonna be filing, where I have to sign the affidavit of support, because you have different categories where that visa number is not available right away, right? So I know once it is that you are in fact getting ready to come, right? I'm signing this affidavit of support, then I'm coming, yeah? Now, sponsors, the reason why they are tracking your change of address, don't forget, there's a possibility that you can get sued. So because you can get sued, it is your responsibility anytime that you change your address. You are in fact required to notify the US government that you have changed your address, because they don't know if this immigrant that you're sponsoring is coming here to be on the system. So they have to keep a track of you also. Just in the event they have to sue you. So don't just think it's the immigrant who is going to get sued. You sign this document, you're up to be sued as well. Now, in sponsoring anyone, you have to come with your household signs to qualify. So let's run down now who is in your household. Anybody who is signing an affidavit of support, you have to be sure that you have the means to sponsor the immigrant you are proposing to sign a contract that you're going to keep them. Remember, one of the main focus of this affidavit of support is that you are going to, in fact, keep the immigrant 125% above the federal poverty guideline. And if it is that you're active military, then it's a lower standard for you, and it's just 100% of the federal poverty guideline. You're going to keep them above this, right? So we're taking into account the sponsor, we're taking into account their spouse, their children under 18, any person who is not related to them, but they have placed on their tax returns, yeah, or any previously sponsored person. You have to take these people into account to determine household size. Sorry. I'll tell you what happened to me. My client was the stepfather was filing for the daughter, and he had enough to file for the wife. So she got through. Now we're consular processing the child, right, through the embassy. And whilst at the embassy, the affidavit of support got denied. And I'm like, no, because I know my calculations, I know my math, something is wrong. So the client now comes and they're very upset with me because I should have known that they don't qualify. But I'm not a fortune teller. And when this occurred, I said to my client, something is wrong. This woman who you're using is not telling us the truth. I said, is she married? No, she's divorced. Has she filed for anyone before? No. It now comes to the attention when a client, the lady now reveals that, yeah, she had sponsored someone before. Why lie when it's going to affect your friend's application? And my thing is, if you're doing something for someone, you can tell them no if you don't want to do it. Don't put your application in jeopardy. And it just makes absolutely no sense to me why people would do this. Yeah? I've had people wear literal tears. You speak to the sponsor and they're so obnoxious. Yeah? You still have to get documents. And when it is that my assistant is talking to the sponsor and it's pure attitude, now I have to come in, right? And it's either you're doing it or you're not. You're required to give these documents. I personally don't care how much you make, whether it's $1 million or $100. Your income has no bearing on me. You not look you not support me. I'm not concerned with that. These are requirements of the federal government. Yeah? And I find I've had sponsors where they're like, don't let them get my paperwork. Or give me your information, I'll send it straight to you. Because I really don't want to share we don't know if them things for them friend are gonna beg them a money. And it does happen. Sometimes you can't tell people your business, yeah, because at the end of the day, yeah, some people unconscionable and they want to you do them a favor yet till hours of every financial problem them having a life are you. No man, castle, yeah? Castle. Alright, so Terry's saying the sounds hollow. I have no idea why it sounds hollow. I don't know. And it's plugged straight in. I have no idea why it's so hollow. But just just bear with me. Yeah? We have a few minutes left. All right. So for people where your income is in fact not enough, you can use your assets, right? Now, how you're gonna use your assets is simply this, right? You're gonna look at the asset you have. You are going to, in fact, subtract the liability, right? So, for example, you have a mortgage. Your mortgage is your asset is, let's say, 500,000, and your mortgage is 300,000. So you're gonna subtract the 5 from the 3, right? Having subtract the mortgage, right? Then you are going to look at what is the income, right? Because it has to exceed the required income on the affidavit of support by 5 times. And if this person you are filing for is your child, then only 3 times. Now, if you are getting help from the government, this income cannot be used. So now I want to focus on the income that you can't use it to help you qualify for income, right? So if it is that you are getting cash assistance from the government, you cannot use that, right? So social security supplemental income cannot be used. But when you are in fact retired and you're getting your regular social security income, that can be used. So there are certain incomes that cannot be used, especially like that money that you get, right? Temporary assistance for needy family, you can't use that. You can't use monies you are getting with regards to your food stamps to qualify you. You can't use that as well, right? So there, of course, because if you're looking to use that, then guess what? The immigrant is going to be in your household. So now they are, in fact, going to be in need of government assistance. And this is something that they look at. And in looking at also whether that immigrant is going to be on the welfare system, they look at the totality of the circumstance. So they're looking to see the age of that person, the health of that person, right? Their skill set, their education, their experience, right? Because you may have someone who really doesn't have the income, but they're filing for a very young, highly educated person. So it is clear this person is really not coming to be on the welfare system. They're going to come and we hope they're going to get a job, right? They're treated differently as opposed to you're filing for an elderly person where there's no possibility of a work history. Their health, definitely, when you look at the medical record, is in such a condition where it has deteriorated. A person may be held as inadmissible, right? So it is what it is. You have also the substitute sponsor, where, and this is where I say life is so precious. People don't understand how life is precious. Yeah. And you get up, and if it is that I don't know if it's me, but I I don't know if people have just come to the scenario where you can't take life for granted. I don't know what's going around in our community, but what I'm finding is people are having some serious strokes. Yeah. And I don't know if it's the stress of this place. I don't know if it is not taking your prescribed medication, or it's the food that we're eating. But when you see young people having a stroke, this is serious. Yeah. And my heart pains me. I'll never forget my client from Trinidad. And I remember her husband when I had represented him in a child support case, right? And it was so sad because the guy worked for the city, and he was such a strapped in, you know, them men who are men, those sort of virile men. And she had recently gotten married. And I went ahead and I did my representation. And I think about 2 or 3 years later, she called me. And, I was asking, how is he doing? The man completely, she has to do everything for him. And this is why it's so important when you are taking a partner, right? Some people focus on the wrong qualifications. Some people are just taking into account looks. They have, there's no focus on actually trying to see if this person has my best interest at heart. And you have to be very careful, because how you sow is how you reap. And when you take up fly by night people for a partner, right? And you become ill, because we're good today. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. So when you come and you take up these fly by night people, I will tell you this. If you ever get sick, or you are in a position where, God forbid, something happens, and you are unable to care for yourself, dog nyam your sucker. But then one of my clients said to me, Antoinette, when I knew that I had to, it was not choice anymore, that I had to file for a divorce, right? She said, I got ill, and I'm in that house with my husband, and I can't move, and everything just to even get up was so painful. And you tell me this man in the house with her, not even a cup of tea? She said that was when I knew it was time to leave. because the concern is I can't help myself. I'm not well. And he's in the house and he comes in and he sees me. And the man just walk past her. Yeah? And Marinda is saying combination. I'm not sure what you mean by combination, Amarilda. Oh, life stressful. Yeah, anything can happen. And to think this guy would come in every day. Seriously, it's not a joke here. Every day. And see her in pain. Yeah? No help. There's no consideration. And you have to be so careful because when you pick up the wrong person in life, hey, you cannot get sick in the house. Yeah? You cannot lose any of your senses. So no matter what happens, you better be able to touch, see, smell, hear, whatever the five senses are. And I don't think people are focusing on that. Yeah? Morning, Pauline. Yeah. People are focusing on it. They don't care. And when they end up in these positions, and I'm like, so you're telling me that at no point in life you saw these signs? This person has just changed like that? I don't know. I think sometimes we see things, but we choose to ignore them. Or there is an anticipation that, oh, Amarilla said people change with the weather. I don't know. I just think there is an anticipation that you expect change. And I'll tell you this, you're not Jesus Christ. You can't change this person. I saw you see them, I saw it to continue. Yeah? I don't know. Are you Moses? Can you part the Red Sea? What change? You think it's going to happen? But this is opposed to the people who really have their agendas. Because sometimes people will hold on to the true character until after marriage for the seeking of benefits. Yeah, it is what it is. All right. So if it is that you filed an application and the sponsor dies, you can get a substitute sponsor, right? For people who are outside of the country, that petition now is sent back for revocation. You, in fact, have to seek humanitarian reinstatement, right? But who are the substitute sponsors that immigration allows for? It can be a spouse, and I'm going to give you the long list because it is, in fact, a long list. But it's a wide list, and we're grateful, yeah, because if it is that they just restricted this to your very immediate family member, a lot of people would be without sponsors in the event of death. So let's go through who are the substitute sponsors who can come in where the petitioner dies. You have the spouse, you have parents, your mother-in-law. So I want to pick up some voucher for mother-in-law. Jesus may open a sheet of assignment for you. Your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, people get along so much better with the men than they do with the women. So your father-in-law, your sibling, your child, as long as the child is over 18, because they have to meet the age requirement, your sister-in-law, your brother-in-law, your grandparents, yeah, this is finally where a grandparent can do something, your grandchild, or your legal guardian. Now, the affidavit of support is good only from 1 year, not from when it's signed, but when it is actually filed. All right. Now, I want to look at the liability because some people just filing, signing, and they don't know the ramifications of this. Let's see how long this lasts. Because remember, you're signing this document, it's a contract, and there is in fact a liability component to this. Yeah. So let's kind of go through it. Once they are a green card holder, so if you are putting an affidavit of support for someone and they never got the green card, you're not on the hook for anything. If it is they got approved at the embassy or their adjustment was granted, so here we have the green card holder status, right? Start the clock. This is where your liability starts. Okay? So let's look at when it ends. If it is that person lost their green card holder status and they departed, so there are two components to that. Now, some people can be ordered removed and they're still here. So if they've lost their green card holder status and they have departed the country, right? They got removed, then you're no longer on the hook for these people, right? If it is that they went ahead and adjusted their status, right, in deportation proceedings through another sponsor, then you're off the hook. If it is that they have earned 40 hours of Social Security Administration quota, and that's approximately 10 years of working. If at any point they stopped during that 10 year and they went on a federal means tested benefit collecting welfare, then that interrupts that 10 year, right? Or God forbid, the immigrant dies, then absolutely your liability stops. Okay, for men who have filed for their spouses, divorce does not stop your obligation under the affidavit of support. I don't care if you have buyer's remorse. I don't care if you bring this girl and she's the worst thing you ever buck up in life. You still liable under the affidavit of support, right? And I don't care if you signed up for it. It doesn't end your obligation with the government. This is a government. It's a contract you signed with the government. You could have signed a prenup to say you're not going to be liable for her, right? I'm going to show you how the prenup may save you, but not when the government is suing you. If the government is suing you and they want back the money because they paid out benefits for the immigrants, then your prenup does not protect you. Yeah? Now, you could put in your stipulation in a divorce that you're not responsible for her. The government does not care. When the government is a plaintiff in the action seeking to collect money that they have paid out during the period where you are responsible for the person, for where you signed an affidavit of support, you signing a prenup, you putting it in your stipulation of settlement in divorce, you're still liable. So I want you to understand that. The only thing a prenup or a stipulation in a divorce settlement protects you, it protects you from the spouse when they are in fact looking to claim, because what some of them will do is, you have to understand, this affidavit of support is separate from alimony, it is separate from child support. The affidavit of support, you sign that you're going to maintain them 125% above the federal poverty guideline. So, The fact you had buyer's remorse and she's now divorcing you, yeah, you can seek maintenance based on that, right? All right, so it's tough, but one of the things I want you to even, what is even scary, uh, is that with the affidavit of support, the government is in fact have the power to claim up to 10 years. If they took it, remember, your liability for this person is 10 years, right? Approximately, they're looking at those 40 Social Security Administration quarters, which is approximately 10 years. Unless, of course, they went on some form of welfare, then it interrupts their contribution. Because they stop work, they not contribute. But the scarier thing is the government's power in terms of they have up to 10 years from when the person received the benefit. So even if the person received the benefit in the last year, then the government have 10 years from that to sue you. You can't sign this document for a deadbeat rasta. Jaja tears are gonna reach you. All right. Now, the affidavit of support is not dischargeable in bankruptcy. Sad, not true. Not even in bankruptcy is this obligation dischargeable. That's why I caution you. Watch who you sign this document for. Yeah? Once again, let me repeat with the prenup and your divorce document. That only affects the immigrant. They may say, because you see, people can sign off any contractual rights. It's a contract. So they can enter into a contract, say, okay, I don't need it for me. The government is not a party to your prenup or your divorce. They have their own contract that you signed and provided to them that you are going to make yourself subject to liability. And this is where you have to be careful who you sign this document for. All right, so it is 10:08, and we are at the end of the program. Thank you for joining us this Sunday. We are here every Sunday providing information to our community. Please walk good, live good with your family. Spend some time. If you say, oh, the weather nice, I think they say it's gonna rain today. We hope it's not. But go out, take your wife out. Mother's Day coming. Try start plan something. Yeah. All right. Enjoy your Sunday. Bye.